Welcome. I'd like to introduce our guest for today is Ron Ciotti of Hinckley Allen. Hi, Ron. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, considering.
Considering exactly.
Yeah. So, how are you coping with all of this?
Well, so far it's been very interesting. I will tell you, it's the hardest and most I've worked in my entire life, and I've always felt like I'm a pretty hard worker. In the last probably 2.5 to 3 weeks, I have spent more time dealing with emergencies than I ever have before, relating to construction sites being, shut down. Construction's all I do, as you know. Having clients call me relating to construction sites being shut down by governmental order, by owners, by contractors, shut down due to contractors not showing up on the site, closed because of positive COVID tests on individuals on the site. Lots of different reasons, and as a result of that, I have been just hammered with work, because I do work across the country. So it's been interesting.
So, where do you find the most issues going on? What part of the country?
I will tell you that I spent most of last week dealing with the West Coast issues. California was a significant mess because their shelter-in-place orders, the county orders, were all different. California owners and contractors have facilities and outlets throughout the state. And as a result of that, when different counties treat different areas very differently relating to construction projects and whether they can proceed forward as an essential service, it creates all sorts of problems. And then the state came out with a different order, and nobody was sure whether to follow the state order or the county orders, and it created a real mess. And Massachusetts has come out, unfortunately, done the same with a state order that's very different than the orders that were in place in Boston and Cambridge. We've been dealing with a lot of different issues.
So, what is the order right now? Because I know originally it was said they don't want they want all construction sites to cease. Mm-hmm. And now they're saying that they want to go back.
Yeah, the position right now is very interesting, and it changed actually late yesterday. Up until late yesterday, there was a battle going on because the city of Boston had initially come in with a shelter-in-place order that said that basically shut down all construction projects. Very, very, very few construction projects were defined as essential activities and allowed to proceed. Then the state came out with an order, Governor Baker came out with an order that basically said construction projects in general could proceed as an essential activity. And that any local order that interfered with the objectives of his order his order would take precedence over. And he defined out specifically that if the order interfered with the objective of carrying out essential activities, which he had stated construction was one of them, which Boston had stopped construction projects, that his would take precedence. The city of Boston and city of Cambridge both said, we disagree. We think we can go from a local standpoint and do what's healthy and safe for our specific areas. And we are continuing to shut down construction projects within our cities. And so there was a battle. And then yesterday afternoon, the state ended up revising their definition of what is an essential activity for construction and defined it much, much more stringently. And now the question is whether sort of retail outlets and things like that that do not include COVID-specific other essential activities would be included within that, because it's a much, much more stringent area, and may shut down many of the owner private projects around the state of Massachusetts.
So how is this going to affect the contracts that are in place right now with as far as you have deadlines, and there's
Absolutely.
always that stipulation in all the contracts. Uh, you know, if you have to, if the law says you can't operate, you can't operate.
That's correct. And owners are going to have to now recognize that many of their projects are going to have significant and substantial delays as a result. They're going to have to be in touch with their banks, their lenders, and make sure they understand how this is going to affect the project as a whole, because projects, even projects that are ongoing without a governmental stop, are still going to have delays. Owners are going to have to understand that even a project in an area that does not have a specific governmental order stopping that project from moving forward is probably going to get delayed, because it's probably going to have supplies and materials and equipment coming from other states and areas that do have stop work orders. And those suppliers and dealers and distributors may not be an essential service or activity within that state, and therefore will not be able to get those materials through the distribution chains. So it's going to be it's a bit of a mess, and it's going to stay a bit of a mess. And those owners are going to have to stay on top of their projects and understand their positions into where they can transfer some of that risk and where they can't.
Oh, well, it sounds like you're going to be very busy in the next few months.
Yes, I am anticipating that exact issue, and have been for the last 2.5 weeks, just out straight. We'll continue to be out straight, our entire firm. Hinckley Allen has been, because we are one of the largest construction practices in the entire country, we have all been truly out straight with the work relating to trying to answer questions for our clients, whether they be owners of projects or contractors on projects.
So going forward, do you anticipate any changes in future contracts to protect both the vendors and the owners in this type of a situation?
Yeah, significantly. I think that contracts are going to be drafted very differently moving forward to understand and to take into account the risks of these types of delays. And specifically right now, everybody is saying, oh, well, that's a force majeure delay. Force majeure being a unforeseen condition outside of the control of the contractor or the contracting parties. Well, the force majeure one, even if it applies now, is a question because of the fact that it's up until this point been defined very strictly, and most force majeure provisions do not state pandemics or epidemics. People just weren't thinking about pandemics and epidemics when they drafted force majeure clauses. So whether or not it's included is going to be basically in the heart of the fact finder, the judge, or the arbitrator determining whether or not this pandemic fits within force majeure. But aside from that, force majeure means it's an unforeseen condition. And really here with coronavirus and COVID-19, we now have it, and we recognize that it can come back. And so if your contract from this point forward doesn't include a provision that specifically discusses delays as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak or a coronavirus outbreak, then you're probably not going to be able to fit it under a force majeure clause going forward. So you're really going to have those clauses now in your contracts, because it is a known condition. It is out there. A virus doesn't just completely go away. As we know from influenza, it comes back every year. COVID-19 and coronavirus certainly could come back each year. So we need to now contract accordingly with those provisions.
So moving forward right now, do you think construction companies or owners should take on new projects because of what's going on right now?
Yeah, it depends on where in the nation they are located. I will tell you that there are a few places where I have prepared new contracts just recently. But they're few and far between, and those people that are entering into new contracts right now during this outbreak, have to understand that the schedule for those projects are going to be much more extenuated, and the costs relating to those projects may be much more in flux. I'm not saying it's more expensive. It may not be, but from a predictability standpoint, and usually banks and financial institutions and lenders love predictability, there is none. Because we don't know scheduling wise how long it's going to take. We don't know cost wise whether there's going to be material price escalations for certain materials or equipment. And all of those are sort of in flux right now, like so much of our society, frankly.
Well, Ron, you've been answering a lot of questions. You know your stuff, obviously, and we always hear you at the conferences, and you always do a great job. Before we go, I see you working at home. You are at home, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So how are you liking that?
What's that?
How are you enjoying working at a home, out of your house?
I will tell you that I'm very different in the fact that even though I come from a firm that's 200 plus attorneys and large practices in several different offices, I've always been an attorney who recognized the fact that I can perform my services from anywhere. And as a result of that, that's why my practice is very national, and I travel substantially. In fact, I'm just happy that I'm past my 14 days since my last travel. But working at home, it has its own challenges, but the fact of the matter is it's something that you can do from anywhere, and it actually provides me a little bit more time to provide my services because I don't have the commuting time. And I think some of our society is going to learn that it is somewhat easy to work at home.
I'm really impressed, Ron, because all of the interviews I've done, you are the first one that has come to the interview and you're wearing a suit and a tie. And
like I said before, don't ask me if I'm wearing pants. One of the benefits of working at home.
Right. I appreciate you doing this for us, Ron. It's important to keep the communications going out to all to the industry, and we hope you stay safe and healthy.
Thank you very much. Same to you, Rick. Anytime. The New England Real Estate Journal to me has been one of the outlets that has done a tremendous job at getting information and being able to provide its members and its subscribers really workable information. And it's a great group. I'll be here anytime for you and your members, and would be happy to discuss any issues related to construction.
We appreciate it, Ron, and hopefully we'll see you in person in a conference in the near future.
I look forward to that very much so. Then I'll wear pants.
Let's hope.
That's right.
Thank you, Ron.
Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching today's interview. If you'd like to be a guest, a sponsor, or even advertise in the New England Real Estate Journal, you'll find our contact information in the description box below. You can also find all our social media platforms so you can follow us, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel.